welcome to Vision on TV. We're interviewing people about their reactions to this mine in Bristol Bay in Alaska. And Georgia, you've just seen the film. How did you feel about it?
Well, it's hard to know without kind of seeing any data. But I just personally think that it seems to be such an area of pristine beauty and is the last remaining kind of wild salmon spawning ground. And then it's hard to weigh that up against a big company who has massive interests.
So what's your sense of how far we should go to stop this campaign?
Lucky I'm not on the side of Anglo-America. Well, I think everything kind of within the full remit of the law, because I just think that no matter how carefully they do their risk assessment, there'll be something buried somewhere in some appendix, in some document, which will talk about what will happen if X, Y, and Z happen. And as we've seen from so many disasters kind of relating to shipping and fuel and mining, quite often the unthinkable or the unexpected does happen, and there's no contingency plan, and particularly in this pristine habitat, the environment will be ruined, it will be finished. There's no natural restoration that can be achieved, as was kind of mooted in the film.
So, I mean, I noticed that the company was using words like, you should be rational and give the process some time and not be emotional. Do you think the Indigenous people you met today up on the panel are being too emotional?
No, I think that's just the way of the mining company saying, here's a bunch of possibly ignorant, uneducated, emotional community that don't understand all the benefits that the mine can bring. But obviously these rednecks, as they actually self-style themselves, which I thought was quite cute, they might be rednecks, but that doesn't mean they're not smart and intelligent and can see exactly what's going on. The mining company will come with inducements and blandishments, and this will bring X amount of money into your economy and bring X amount of jobs. But if the risk is too high, then nothing can really justify it.
And what's your feeling around the idea? Again, I was hearing a lot of language around resources and profits and costs. Do you have any view on the wild having its inherent value, or do you think everything's a resource?
Yes and no. Everything is a resource, and in some ways we'd be a lot better off if we could properly evaluate and put a figure on natural resources, because if it was done properly, you could quite possibly find that Bristol Bay's unique location and wildlife and the kind of natural habitat would actually outweigh all the huge profits that are obviously going to come out of this mine.
Okay, and you're also talking about you're part of a slow food movement. What's the relationship between a salmon in Alaska and slow food? Is there one?
As the branch Slow Food London, we were asked to co-sponsor this film with Earthworks, which we were quite happy to do. And I was actually, I do the social media and the blogging for Slow Food London, so I was the one tweeting people and letting them know about it and liaising with Lucy from Earthworks and so on.
Why would anyone, what's the link between slow food and salmon?
I would think it's because it's the last haven of wild salmon, and slow food is all about looking after and kind of taking care of wild species and even kind of domestic species that have a long history of coexisting with the human race. We're all about preserving kind of cultural and food and cooking traditions where they're of obvious benefit to the local community. So I think that would be where the connection comes in.
So what about if the mine sort of preserved, a certain amount of native salmon for the Indigenous people? And
yeah, but we all know it doesn't work like that. You get the wrong kind of not effluent. You get the wrong kind of spill coming from the mine, on the wrong day with the wrong flow, and that's it. Fish, are not stupid. They do not have a 3-second memory. They can be quite quite intelligent, and with wild fish, if the habitat is disturbed, in any way which we think, even on a human scale, which we think is insignificant, we still don't know enough about fish and how they're going to react, and it will be gone, and you can't get something like that back.
Did you feel inspired tonight to act as an individual as well as part of your slow food organisation?
Yes, I was saying to a woman that I met after the film that what I would like to know is the companies that actually sell on this kind of wild Alaskan salmon, because personally I've never seen it. I mean, most of the stuff you get here in the UK is Scottish, or farmed and coloured and so on, but we won't go into that. Yeah, so I'd like to know the companies that kind of sell
Disgusting.
that sell it on to the consumer, kind of who they are, if I can buy it in London, because one, I'd like to start buying it, and two, I would like to know who to write to at these companies to kind of say, are you doing anything about this? Do you realise you could lose all this? Because with companies you have to talk about profits, and you also have to talk about CSR, like corporate social responsibility. There are those two Achilles heels with companies. You can't necessarily appeal to morals and ethics because the business community doesn't necessarily work like that.
So just in case your slow food group wants to start doing this, how can people find out more about you?
If they want to find out more about the film and arrange a local screening, which would be fabulous, they should contact Lucy at Earthworks, or they can contact Slow Food, who will put them in contact with Earthworks and so on.
And is it free for someone to do a screening of the film?
I believe so. Well, the night I've come to is free, which is great because I only work part-time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. You've been on Vision on TV, and we'll be hearing from some more people soon. Thanks for joining us.